They say some places don't want to be remembered, but the moment you hear about them, they quietly follow you home. Tonight, I'm about to tell you a story that many Americans swear is real. A story people regret listening to alone in the dark. If you're hearing this late at night, maybe driving or lying in bed, you might already feel that strange tension in your chest. That feeling is not fear yet. It's curiosity. And once this story starts, it won't let you go. This story doesn't begin with screams or blood. It begins with a simple grave at the edge of a forgotten cemetery in the Midwest. A grave so old that the name on it has been erased, but the warnings around it are still very clear. Before we go any further, if you enjoy true scary stories, urban legends, and dark mysteries like this, make sure to subscribe to ShadowInk Horror right now. Turn on notifications too, because the stories we share here stand to fade easily. People in the nearby town never talk about this grave directly, and that silence tells you everything. They lower their voices, change the subject, or pretend they didn't hear you. The cemetery itself looks harmless during the day, with cracked stones and tall grass moving in the wind. But locals say once the sun goes down, the ground feels different, almost like it's breathing. Teenagers used to dare each other to visit the grave after midnight, laughing as they crossed the rusted gate. Most of them never made it past the first row of tombstones. Those who did come back were quiet for days, sometimes weeks. A few of them never returned to school again. The legend says the grave belongs to a man who claimed he could speak to Satan himself. He wasn't a preacher, a cult leader, or a magician, just an ordinary man with a dangerous belief. In the late 1800s, he lived alone near the cemetery, and neighbors said animals avoided his land. Dogs would bark endlessly near his house, and horses refused to walk past it. One night, the man was found dead under strange circumstances, his body twisted in a way doctors couldn't explain. The church refused to bury him on holy ground, so they placed him at the far edge of the cemetery, away from the others, and marked his grave with no name. That should have been the end of it, but that's when the real story began. Soon after the burial, people reported hearing whispers near the grave at night. The voices didn't sound human, and they didn't sound far away. Gravekeepers noticed that the soil on the grave was always disturbed, even after being packed down. No footprints, no animal tracks, just broken earth. One worker quit after claiming he heard his own name being spoken from underground. Another said something knocked back when he tapped the headstone. Years passed, and the town tried to forget, but the grave refused to be forgotten. Every few years, someone new would go missing near the cemetery. In the 1970s, a group of college students decided to document the legend on camera. They believed it was just an exaggerated urban myth. Their footage was later found in their abandoned car, parked outside the cemetery gates. The tape ends with the sound of heavy breathing and a voice calmly saying, "He's awake now." No bodies were ever found, and the case went cold. Locals say the students never left that place, at least not fully. Some nights, visitors report seeing shadows standing near the grave that don't move when light hits them. Other times, the air smells like burning earth and rusted metal. The scariest part is what happens when someone reads the inscription carved faintly into the stone. Most people don't even notice it unless the moonlight hits just right. Those who read it out loud describe feeling watched 4 days afterward. They hear footsteps behind them, even when alone. A woman from Ohio once claimed she saw the man from the grave standing at the foot of her bed. He didn't speak. He just smiled and slowly pointed downward. She moved houses, changed her number, and stopped talking about the experience. But according to her family, she never slept with the lights off again. Paranormal investigators have tried recording audio near the grave. Almost every recording includes a low voice repeating the same phrase over and over. The phrase roughly translates to, "The door is not closed." No one knows what door it's talking about. Church officials have attempted blessings and prayers, but none of them lasted. One priest reportedly left the town the same night he visited the grave. People believe the grave acts like a marker, not a prison. It doesn't hold something down. It shows where something can come through. That's why locals warn visitors never to step directly on the grave. They say it feels warm, even in winter. A man once ignored that warning and laughed as he stood on it. He collapsed minutes later, screaming about something pulling at his legs. Emergency responders found no injuries, but the man refused to explain what he saw. He left town the next morning. If you're still listening, take a second to like this video It really helps ShadowInk Horror reach more people who love dark stories like this. Your support keeps these stories alive. The legend also says the grave reacts to certain times of the year. On specific nights, the shadows stretch longer than they should. People claim they hear chanting from beneath the ground, slow and rhythmic. The sound stops the moment someone approaches. Some believe the man made a deal, and his body was never meant to rest. Death didn't end his role, it sealed it. The cemetery records showed that no one has been buried near that grave since. Even the dead are kept away from it. Modern drones have flown over the area and captured strange heat signatures. The ground around the grave is always warmer. Scientists say it's natural, but they can't explain why it pulses. The pattern looks almost intentional. Visitors often report losing track of time inside the cemetery. Minutes feel like hours, and hours disappear completely. Phones glitch. Batteries drain and compasses spin near the grave. Technology doesn't seem welcome there. The most disturbing reports come from people who dream about the grave after visiting. They describe standing on it. Unable to move. In the dream, a voice asks one question repeatedly. Do you want to open it? Those who say yes claim their lives fall apart soon after. Accidents, illnesses, and sudden losses follow them. People who say no wake up screaming, but nothing else happens. The choice seems to matter. No one knows what happens if the door fully opens, and maybe that's the most terrifying part. This story continues because people keep testing it. Curiosity is stronger than fear. If you've ever driven past an old cemetery and felt watched, you might understand why. Some places remember us. As we reach the end, I want to ask you something. Would you step near that grave if you were dared? Let us know your thoughts in the comments, and share this video with someone who loves scary stories. Stories grow stronger when they're shared. This is ShadowInk Horror, and if you listen closely tonight, you might hear something knocking back.